Help me reach 2,000 subscribers. When I saw her message, I didn't get angry. Not right away. It was just a notification at first. A simple vibration on my phone at 10:42 p.m. The kind that usually meant a reminder or a work email. But when I opened it and saw her words, "Intimacy today was with your friend," the world around me went silent. No sound. No heartbeat. Just stillness, as if everything paused to watch what I'd do next. I stared at the screen, reading the line again and again, hoping it was some sort of dark joke. My wife Emma wasn't the kind of woman to play games like that. Or maybe I just believed she wasn't. The message was sent by mistake. That was the only explanation my brain tried to offer. But deep down, something heavy told me otherwise. I didn't reply. I didn't call her. Instead, I sat on the edge of our bed, phone in my hand, replaying the last few weeks in my mind. The late nights. The cold distance. The way she'd started sleeping on her side of the bed, always claiming she was tired or not in the mood. I told myself it was just stress from work. I told myself we were fine. But now those small cracks formed a clear picture, one I'd refused to see. Emma and I had been married for 8 years. 8 years of shared mornings, missed holidays, and quiet dinners. We weren't perfect, but I thought we were strong. I worked long hours in construction, came home exhausted, yet never failed to check in with her, ask about her day, make her tea when she looked drained. But over time, her laughter stopped reaching her eyes. She became polite instead of loving, distant instead of warm. And now this message. A single sentence capable of collapsing everything I thought we had. I didn't rage. I didn't throw the phone or drive to confront her. I just sat there and let the truth settle like dust after an explosion. Because once you've given someone all of you, and they still choose someone else, there's no argument left to make. My friend Ethan was the one she meant. The same man I trusted, the one who'd helped me renovate our kitchen last year. The same man I'd called brother. Suddenly, every laugh they shared at our barbecue, every inside joke, every "he's just helping me out" made perfect, painful sense. And still I said nothing. Not yet. I didn't sleep that night. I just sat in the dark watching the clock move from 1 hour to the next. Around 3 a.m., I walked into the kitchen, poured myself a glass of water, and stared at the reflection in the window. My face looked calm, but inside something had quietly broken. Not in a loud, destructive way, but like a rope snapping after holding too much weight for too long. I could have called her right then. I could have confronted Ethan, demanded an explanation, yelled, or begged. But instead I opened the message again and took a screenshot. Then I printed it. Just one line of text, black ink on white paper, plain, undeniable, and final. I looked at it for a long time before sliding it into my drawer. It wasn't revenge I wanted. It was clarity. I needed to see it for what it was. Not an accident, not confusion, just truth. The next morning, Emma came home like nothing had happened. She kissed me on the cheek, set her purse down, and said, "Sorry, late meeting." I watched her take off her heels, her voice too casual, her smile too perfect. I didn't ask where she'd been. I didn't ask why her perfume was different. I simply nodded. Over breakfast, she talked about grocery lists and weekend plans, as if the woman sitting across from me hadn't just sent me a confession the night before. It was strange how easily lies could blend into routine. When she left for work again, I sat at the table and opened my family group chat, the one where her parents, my parents, and our siblings were all connected. We used it to share birthdays, baby pictures, and small joys. It was a space of warmth, one I'd always respected. But that morning I uploaded the printed photo. Her message, untouched, unedited. Then I typed only 3 words. She sent this. No anger, no accusation, no dramatic caption. Just truth, plain and unvarnished. Within minutes the chat exploded. Her mother calling, her brother typing and deleting, my sister sending question marks. I turned my phone face down and let it buzz across the table. Somewhere deep inside, I felt a strange calmness. Not satisfaction, not vengeance. Just a cold acceptance that the story had reached its end. That evening Emma called repeatedly. Then the messages started coming. "It's not what you think. Please, can we talk? You misunderstood." But you can't misunderstand a sentence that simple. When she came home, her eyes were red, her hands shaking. She threw her phone on the couch and said, "You ruined everything." I looked at her and said quietly, "No, Emma. You did. Humiliate me, she said, her voice trembling. I watched her carefully, waiting for even a hint of regret, but there was none. Just fury at being exposed. Humiliate you? I repeated. You sent me that message, Emma. You just forgot who you were sending it to. She turned away, hands pressed against her forehead, pacing the living room like a caged storm. It was a mistake. I wasn't thinking clearly. Ethan and I, it wasn't serious. I almost laughed. Not because it was funny, but because of how familiar those words sounded. It wasn't serious. As if betrayal only counts when it's deep enough. As if casual dishonesty hurts less. I didn't raise my voice. I just said, then you should have thought clearly before you sent it. For the first time she had no reply. Silence filled the room, thick, cold, and heavier than any argument could have been. I picked up my jacket from the chair and said, I'm going to my brother's for a while. You can stay here or wherever you've been staying. Doesn't matter anymore. She started crying, finally realizing that the man who once begged her to talk, who stayed up nights trying to fix what was broken, wasn't there anymore. I didn't look back. I'd done my part. I'd loved her, trusted her, and given her every chance to be honest. She chose otherwise. When I walked out that door, the air outside felt different, cleaner somehow. I got in my car, sat for a while, and looked at my phone. More messages were still pouring in from the family group. Her father apologizing, her mother asking me to forgive her, my mother simply sending a heart and the words, "Proud of you for your silence." It's strange how sometimes you don't need revenge to feel closure. You just need truth to breathe in daylight. A week later she texted me again. A long paragraph this time. She wrote about regret, about missing me, about how she'd made a mistake and wanted to fix it. I didn't reply. I didn't block her either. I just let the message sit there unread, like the echo of a life that no longer belonged to me. I never hated her. I just stopped recognizing the woman I married. And maybe that's the cruelest part, losing someone while they're still right in front of you. I never sent another message in that group again. But that single photo, that single line, it said everything that ever needed to be said. Sometimes closure doesn't come from words. It comes from silence that finally feels like peace.